Festival Beach, located on the east end of Austin's town lake. It's a city-owned park, close to the Capitol and the downtown business area. And it's just what an urban park should be. Quiet and uncrowded. That is, on most days. For 3 weekends each year, Festival Beach and Town Lake are the site of the Southern Drag Boat Association races. 2 preliminary races are held in April and June. The championship race is held in August as part of Austin's annual Aqua Festival. This August race is one of the largest races of its kind in the country. This year, over 35,000 spectators will attend the races. Austin, which is a city not generally known for water sports, receives national attention by hosting these races. But the boat races have become increasingly controversial.
Barcos no! Barrio sí! Barcos no! Barrio sí! Barcos no! Barrio sí! Barcos no!
Festival Beach, the site of the races, borders on Austin's Mexican-American community. Many of the residents here are bitterly opposed to the races. They've tried for 6 years to get the races moved. This year, during the April races, protests led to charges of police brutality. I'm Barbara Enlow. Tonight in our program, we'll examine the controversy surrounding these Festival Beach drag boat races. Drag boat racing was brought to Austin in 1963 by the Austin Boat Club, a small but dedicated group of racing enthusiasts. For each year since then, the club has sponsored the races. We asked Boat Club representative Phil Miller why drag boat racing is so popular.
I think for a couple of reasons. The first reason why people are excited about racing in general. Racing is a sport of the 70s. Golf, they say, may have been a sport of the 60s. Tennis, too, is a coming sport. But boat racing, automobile racing, the speed, possible danger, the ability to get out in large groups, mingle with other people, all of this leads to enjoyment by a mass audience. And I think primarily the go fast, the get it on and get it over with in a hurry. And that's what drag boat racing is all about. It lasts, if you're running up around 150 miles an hour, you're from the start to finish in something between 7 to 9.5 seconds. And the race is over, and then another one happens. So you have continuing things going along.
Mm-hmm. Why does the boat club feel that it's necessary to hold the races on the east end of Town Lake?
At Festival Beach, at that area, sometimes early in the morning, or almost any time of day, when the wind dies, and you can look across Town Lake, and it looks almost like glass. And we call it hydro water, because it's very, very smooth. And when the water lays and the wind lays, that's when the boats can really get it on. And that's when you have your 190, 200 miles an hour. There is no better race course in America than what we have here at Town Lake. It's just unnatural.
The drag boat races are strongly supported by Austin's business community, mainly because of the important role the August race plays in Aqua Fest. We talked with Dorothy Rowland, president of the Austin Chamber of Commerce.
And what do you think the importance is of the boat races to the Aqua Festival?
Well, the boat races are about the only money-making project we have. The rest of them pretty well break even. The fest nights break even. And the boat races are the source of income for us to put on the projects such as the kite contest, the small fry fishing contest, the German shepherd show, dog shows, and the cat shows, and all the things that don't make money, but that have a special interest to the people of Austin.
So do you think there would be an Aqua Festival if there weren't boat races?
I think we would probably survive in one form or another, but we wouldn't. First of all, it would be a more difficult to do. It would mean additional. Have to go out and find another source of income. What that might be, we really haven't approached yet, because the theme is water. The water, getting back to the reason for the Aqua Festival to start with. We would be getting away from the theme of the show, for one thing. The lakes are there, the water is there, it's available to us. Certainly it has been the public has certainly been responsive to it. It's very, very popular. Besides just what it does for our economy right here, it gives us national publicity, and which is what we originally started out to do, is to change the image of Austin. And by reason of the fact that we have the national boat races here and that it is on national television, well then we are really accomplishing our purpose in having them televised and for Austin to be known as the home of the national boat show race.
The Aqua Fest a benefit to the East Austin community also?
Very definitely. Because of the hotels and the labor market that they utilize, the restaurants. If you were to talk to any of the restaurant owners in East Austin, you would find immediately that they have no desire for the boat races to be moved.
The East Austin community bordering on Festival Beach is predominantly Mexican-American. It's not an affluent area, but there is a strong sense of community here. Many residents feel that the city has neglected their neighborhood in favor of wealthier West and Northwest Austin. They feel that there should be more paved roads, better schools, and more recreational facilities. This is also one of the most heavily industrialized sections of Austin. There is a large electric power generating station, railroad yards, and many warehouses. Sentiment against the boat races has been growing here for a number of years. We talked with a longtime resident of the community and asked him what he felt about the boat races.
Well, I don't feel good about it. The neighborhood doesn't feel good about it. The whole Barrio doesn't feel good about it, because we have a lot of problems. A lot of people that don't live in the Barrio don't feel we have problems. But we do have them, because we live here. We stay here day and night. And at that time, we have a lot of problems on the parking. That we can't find them parking ourselves. And they go over the lawns. Ain't nobody to tell them different. They can't, even if they wanted to.
You mean during the boat races?
During the boat races. And that's a problem we're having, trying to get in sometimes, in and out our own property. And so that's one problem. The boat races are traffic. The boat races bring traffic, pollution, and trash when they leave. We can hear everything and see everything. Traffic, boats, we can hear from here. I mean, there, it's just like if it was outside here. That's how loud they sound.
Much of the opposition against the races is being organized and coordinated by El Centro Chicano. We spoke with Paul Hernandez there, an outspoken critic of the races.
Okay, to start off with, could you tell us why you're opposed to the boat races in their present location?
Okay, first of all, it's the most obvious, of course, being the noise, the pollution, the traffic, the congestion of thousands of people, tourists invading a residential area and leaving their trash behind, the roar of the motors of the boats. They don't just use regular fuel. They're superpower motorboats. Those are the obvious reasons why we oppose it. You know, those types of nuisances should not be tolerated in any neighborhood. The underlying reasons are what it does to a community as a whole. activities such as boat races tend to degrade and devaluate residential property value. Also, it causes people to want to move away from such activities, which in turn decreases your residential population. It's activities like the boat races that block neighborhood efforts for the revitalization of this neighborhood. People are concerned about Central East Austin, the business district, and the revitalization of that area while this area is decaying like hell. And our concern, since we live here, is not to let this area decay.
Because we like our neighborhood. And the way we've seen it, there won't be no neighborhood after a while. That's the whole thing about it. And that's the whole worry over here. And everything on account of the boat races. Before the boat race, everybody was happy, peaceful. Nobody complained about nothing. Okay, so everybody's been complaining about it ever since. I'm talking about that traffic's going to get worse, and everything's going to get worse, and the house is most concerned, because they're the ones disappearing from here. That eventually we're going to take piece by piece, house by house, all along the lake, which that means from Chicon or other side back this way. And so that's our worry right now.
What's happening is that people that are promoting things like the boat races in this area are actually developers who are trying to deteriorate the area as a residential area, redevelop it as a commercial area, which of course reaps a lot of profits. And the ones to lose, of course, are the people that live here. They have to settle being next to a warehouse, next to apartments, next to, you know, all kinds of things that are coming in now into this neighborhood. The Chamber of Commerce, of course, wants to promote Austin as a tourist city, as a city where industry can locate and have all these fine activities. Okay, the developer's interest is, and this is prime land, and the price value of this land is not anywhere near the price value of the land across the lake. So what you do is that you force people out, buy the property, keep it, and don't encourage any new home building. And at some point everybody's going to move out, and at that point you develop it.
What about the prestige it's supposed to bring to Austin, national prominence and all that?
It may bring to a boat racer or to that type of sportsman a prestige. To the neighborhood, it's a degrading, dehumanizing activity. Also, the abuses that are had at the hands of the tourists that come in and the boat enthusiasts that come in. It's like when people were complaining about how trashy the fraternity groups were at Peace Park. The same mentality, the same type of person is in your boat enthusiast. They don't give a damn about our property, our houses, our neighborhood. All they want is a good race, to see somebody break a record or flip over and break his neck, or they want, if you know, what they do is they get their beer cans and throw them out. They'll take all their garbage and throw them out. They'll come by your house and cuss at you if you're standing out in your front yard. They'll block your driveway and expect you to tolerate it. They'll step over your shrubbery and your flowers and expect you to, you know, not to say anything about it. And then they have the protection of the police.
We feel that there is a very vocal minority who has created a cause célèbre. That is, the boat races were vulnerable. They do have noise, and they do attract a large amount of people. And we feel that even though it is a hardship, 3 weekends, or however many weekends it would happen to be out of the year, that it is not an impossible kind of situation any more than those who happen to live around Robert Mueller Airport or Memorial Stadium, for that matter.
In what they call something that's for the benefit of all of Austin, being a minority group, and we know what that does. It's because as soon as we take a stand on something, they'll always come back, well, it's better for the rest of Austin, and they're always pitting us against the rest of Austin when we never intended it to be that way.
We used to have 9 races on Town Lake. That was before the so-called controversy developed, and the boat club was accused of being intractable and not being able to, would not compromise. We went from 9 to 6, and we are at 3, which is as far as we can go.
And I'll tell you, the whole damn thing about the boat races, it's become a struggle of who can do what. Can they still control that much of this neighborhood to keep the boat races here, or can this neighborhood start trying to control its own environment? You know, so it becomes that type of an issue. Is that, will the power structure be able to enforce whatever the hell it wants, whenever it wants, at its whims, or can it be stopped?
In an attempt to stop the races in 1977, the community took their case to the Austin City Council. They were told that the council would find a new location for the drag boat races in 1978. We talked with Jeff Friedman, who was mayor at the time.
In 1977, the Chicano community came to the city council to ask that the boat races be moved to another location. What was the council's response?
Well, the council's response finally was a vote to end the boat races at the Festival Beach area. It was always maintained that we would want to relocate them to another part of the community, either up on Lake Austin, on the west side of Town Lake up in front of Austin High School, or move it out to Lake Long, or any kind of combination program. And I might add that it wasn't just in 1977. The boat controversy has been dealt with by city councils each year from 1972 forward. And each year, the city council, then under Mayor Butler, subsequently under myself, each year voted to say, this is the last year that we want the races on Town Lake at Festival Beach. Next year, please find another location. And each year, the supporters of the boat race would come down and say, well, we didn't get our act together this year, and we can't really find anything this year, so we want the races approved here. We'll cut the numbers back from 6 to 4 to 3 and what have you. But it's been around for a long time, and it ultimately came down to the fact that, you know, after a 4-3 vote approving the races for 77, an ordinance was passed saying no more. That's it. You now have choices to go to.
But this year's city council was more conservative than last year's. Some of the newly elected council members had made the retention of the boat races on Festival Beach an issue in their campaigns. Last February, a public hearing on the races was held. The council heard arguments on whether to move the races from their present location. Testimony at the hearing was emotional and sometimes frightening.
And to me, the boat races do more for the city of Austin, for our Parks and Recreation Department, for our facilities, than any other thing that we have. And I personally, because of a lot of questions that we've had and criticisms that we've had, like to state publicly, which we kind of, Aqua Festival officials kind of cringe every once in a while, but dang it, I'm glad of the Austin Aqua Festival, and I'm glad to be a member of the city of Austin, and I'm glad to have been born here and raised here.
All this happiness and joy and fun that you talk about the boat races, no matter what the city council decides, you've had the last of that. Because if the boat races come to East Austin, none of you are going to have that happy, joyful, fun time, because the rising of the people and the noise of the protest against that is going to drown the noise of all those boats.
And this has all been hashed out so many times, and I can't understand why anybody's against the drag races. I certainly hope you see fit to leave them on Town Lake.
There are people here who say, you know, well, what are 3 boat races, you know, there are people here who say, well, I don't think they make a lot of noise and anything. If you're so interested in boat races, if you're such an enthusiast in that field, why don't you take the boat races to your side of town, where we are telling you people for the last time, no more boat races. And if you want to take it as a threat, go ahead and take it as a threat. I don't care. But just like, you know, your famous president said, John F. Kennedy, those people who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable.
I don't belong to the boat club, never have, never will. I don't even own a boat. But I think the major issue I want to address here has been the threat of violence, because I feel like I don't want to be intimidated by anybody or any group or any person, regardless of what type of recreational event that I'm going to go to. I certainly hope that you, as paid, you know, elected representatives of the city, that you don't be intimidated by the same threats of violence.
You may win here in the city council chambers, but you are not going to win at the lakeside.
It was a difficult decision that the council had to make, and there was no way they could win.
In all the time that I've lived in Austin, I have never seen an issue create such irrationality, and that's on both sides. The talk of violence that we've heard this evening, God knows that their frustration is running out, and for good reason. That their patience is running out and their frustration is developing. And the boat races are not of that much value to me to say to these residents of Austin, no, we're not going to address your concerns, and particularly since that has been the situation year after year.
Thus, the option is to vote either to ban boat races in Austin, Texas, or to allow them. And I feel that the neighborhood has a very serious concern, and I feel that the community at large has a very serious concern, and they both tried to raise it here tonight. But I feel that boat races, to have no option, is not viable for me, so I will vote yes to continue the boat races and hope we can find a solution, because I don't think we have one with the vote tonight.
In a way, I'm proud to have been part of the council that heard what the Barrio had to say. I'm sorry that we can't give you this time what you need, what you want. But be assured that there's some of us that even though we go down this time, we'll be around, viejos, and we'll do it again some other time.
I think that Fiesta Gardens and Festival Beach is a very appreciated area. I'm sure it also has problems. I've been in the neighborhood and parking and noise. I've been there for many events. I realize that there is a diversity of opinion about what events should and should not be taking place in that area. I again encourage those who are proponents and opponents of the boat races taking place on Town Lake to hopefully talk with, if they have not, or continue talking with, if they have, each other, and working with the community, being particularly sensitive on these 3 weekends of every step we can take to protect that community, and to anything that is offensive about the boat races themselves. And I vote yes.
Boat racing is back on Town Lake this weekend. Bring the family, the coolers, and the fun. Saturday morning.
To the chagrin of the Mexican-American community, the City Council voted 4-3 to return the boat races to Town Lake. But joining the boats and spectators at the April races were protesters and police. The protesters gathered early on Saturday, the first day of the races. Their chanting and shouting was both an expression of their frustration and an attempt to discourage potential spectators. But suddenly, the peaceful demonstrations turned violent.
Ya, estufa. Hey, bro, ¿cuándo estabas aquí? Vienes tú también. ¿Quién está?
After it was over, 19 demonstrators were arrested and jailed. One police officer subsequently received a 5-day suspension for using excessive force to quell the demonstration. Federal authorities are now investigating the incident.
Water. It's a resource that makes Austin one of the most attractive Texas cities. It's unfortunate that speedboat racing, a seemingly non-controversial activity, should cause such intense feeling and violent reactions. If a satisfactory solution to this problem is to be reached, the Austin City Council and the city administration must play a more active role in resolving it than they have in the past. The mayor and the other members of the city council must bring both sides together to negotiate an equitable, a workable, and a lasting solution to this problem.